Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Turley.
And my name is Jerry Bassett, and the topic we will be discussing today is O'Bannon versus NCAA case in the pay-for-play argument.
O'Bannon vs. NCAA deals with how college athlete player likeness has been used in the EA Sports games without some form of compensation or consent. This also brings up the popular pay-for-play argument.
This case also deals with the issue of invasion of athletes' privacy. The definition of invasion of privacy tort is the intrusion into the personal life of another without just cause, which can give the person whose privacy has been invaded a right to bring a lawsuit for damages against the person or entity that intruded. The four main types of invasion of privacy are intrusion of solitude, appropriation of name or likeness, public disclosure of private facts, and false light.
Don't think that EA Sports has escaped the storm of lawsuits that have come from the invasion of privacy. EA Sports recently settled with former college football and basketball players for $40 million.
Not only were universities benefiting from the publicity that the EA Sports games provided, they were even being paid by EA Sports in order to compensate schools for replicating their facilities and players.
The schools that received the most money in 2012 and 2013 were Louisville, UCLA, Clemson, Wisconsin, and Texas A&M.
These schools received anywhere from $75,000 to $113,000, with the majority of that coming from football licenses.
In 2013, EA Sports generated a staggering $3.797 billion.
Although EA Sports is responsible for making many sports games of major pro and college sports, they also make action/story mode games. But it is well known that the NCAA games are one of their best sellers.
NCAA football was first launched in 1998, and since then, the EA Sports has made $1.3 billion in sales just in the United States off of this game series. In 2008, the University of Alabama generated over $123 million from athletics.
This here is a breakdown of NCAA's revenue from 2011 to 2012. A little side note is that they made $871.6 million that year in revenue. $705 million of that came from television and marketing, with the rest coming primarily from championship tickets and the sale of merchandise.
In 2012 and 2013, the NCAA is going to receive $702 million just from a new rights agreement with CBS Sports.
The pay for play, there are 346 Division I schools, and out of those, 123 are classified as football bowl subdivision. Out of those schools, only 20 of them profited from athletics in 2013.
Of those 20 universities who profited, the median net revenue was $8.45 million. However, the football championship subdivision, which is what App was in prior to this year, did not follow the trend of incurring a loss like the football bowl subdivision did.
The majority of the FCS generated revenue increases that outpaced the jump in expenses. For example, revenues jumped 10.1% since 2012, whereas expenses only increased 8% over the same time frame.
The Power 5 conferences are the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and SEC. Why are they spending so much more? Because larger universities are constantly spending money to upgrade facilities in order to draw in more recruits.
There are many pros and cons that come with the pay-for-play argument.
The pros are athletes will be more likely to graduate due to the fact they won't be leaving early to make more money. They will be compensated for risking their own health to represent the university. It would allow players to be more flexible with more flexible time because they wouldn't have to worry about jobs to try and support their day-to-day lives. And also, athletes with lower income would be less likely to go to all lengths to make ends meet, like committing crimes, robbing other dorm rooms, etc. In a documentary on Netflix, Texans running back and former University of Tennessee running back Arian Foster told an interesting story. In college, Arian Foster had just finished a night game and was in the dorm with some teammates. They were hungry, without food in the dorms, and all the dining halls were closed. He called his coach up saying that they were hungry and that they had no food, and they would do whatever to get food, even if that means doing something stupid. The coach broke NCAA rules and brought his players 50 tacos from Taco Bell. At this point, the NCAA rules are a bit excessive. If players are going hungry and having to break laws in order to feed themselves.
Some of the cons of paying athletes include that paying them would take away their amateur status, that smaller schools would be crushed financially. Only a small amount of schools actually have the money to pay their athletes, and they already receive a free education, which should already be enough financial help. It is not logical for athletes to be paid. The majority of schools lose money from athletics, plus large schools will ultimately form a monopoly. Also, the NCAA firmly believes in amateurism, which is playing a sport for the love of the game without extrinsic motivation.
As of right now, the verdict of the abandoned NCAA case is unclear, although many assume that the NCAA will be punished.
However, we do expect some sort of cooperation between EA Sports and the NCAA as well as players due to the popularity of NCAA games.
If we were to have the opportunity to suggest a solution to the EA Sports and NCAA, it would be one of two things.
Either every player whose likeness is used on the game should receive a free copy of the game each year, or upon signing a letter of intent to play a sport at a university, each player should identified as used in the game will receive a one-time payment that must be paid back if they are dismissed from their team.
Here's several of our references that we got mainly from the App State Library. We'd like to thank you for your time and have a nice day.